Hello and welcome. I figured that if I was going to be doing an entire YouTube series, I should probably just do at least a quick what's in my bag video. I know it's not super original, but I will be using a lot of this throughout the series of videos, so I should at least kind of go over it in a fairly brief manner. I'm just going to go through gear right now and not really go through any light modifiers or grip equipment. I figure I'll save that for an entirely other video, and I can go a little more in depth about all that. Okay, so my main camera body is a Canon 5D Mark IV. I usually only shoot one camera at a time. I find that if I shoot two, I kind of get confused, so I like to keep it just one. This is what I'm using 99% of the time. I also have a 5D Mark III as my backup, but my assistant currently has that, but it looks a lot like this. I also just recently got the Canon EOS RP. I got it like 4 days ago, so I've barely used it. And this is just going to be a for fun camera. I won't be using this for anything for work. The camera I'm filming this on is a Canon 6D. That is my backup to my backup, and pretty much I only use it for video. Okay, so next up, lenses. I have a Sigma Art Series 24 f1.4. I use this on the dance floor a lot, and I use it for a lot of portraits actually too. I also have the Sigma 35 f1.4. It's also the Art Series. The Sigma 50 1.4 Art Series. I really like the Art Series. They're relatively inexpensive. I find them to be very sharp. Some people have had some issues. I haven't, but I'm a fan. Next up, I have the Sigma 85 1.4, the non-Art Series. The Art Series is a little bigger than I want it to be, and this kind of has a weird circular bokeh in the corners that I actually really like. So as long as this still works, I'm going to keep using it. My first Canon lens that I'm going to talk about. It's the 135 f2. It's an L series, one of the cheaper L series lenses, but I really love this lens. I'm not super concerned about using Canon lenses, obviously. I like things to be inexpensive. I'm also using the Canon 17-40 f4 to film this on. I used that as my main wide angle for years and years and years until I switched to the 24 1.4. I just prefer the look of the primes, and I really like to shoot wide open, so having a wide angle lens that was an f1.4 was kind of an important thing for me. Alright, next up is the really fun stuff, all of the lighting gear. For transmitters, I use the Phottix Odin. This is the version 2. This one's really great. I like the way it sits on a camera, and it's got 5 groups and all sorts of control. I think I mentioned I am sponsored by Phottix, so a lot of my lighting gear is going to be Phottix. For backup triggers, I have 2 of the original Phottix Odins. Don't ever really need them, but I like to have backup equipment when possible. For my main flashes, I have 2 Phottix Junos. These are transceivers, so they have a transmitter and receiver built in. These are relatively new, and I'm a big fan of them so far. I also have a lot of Phottix Mitros Pluses that are also transceiver flashes, so I don't actually need any receivers. I think I have 6 speedlights there. Rarely am I using more than like 2 or 3 at a time, but like I said, I like to have backups of everything. So in addition to the speedlights, I also have a couple strobes. I have the Phottix Indra 360 as well as the Phottix Indra 500. These are significantly more powerful than the speedlights, but they also have internal receivers, so they work with both the transmitters as well as a speedlight on camera to trigger them. So I also do a little bit of LED lighting if necessary. I have a couple of these little Phottix LEDs that take AA's. It takes like 6 of them. They're not super powerful, but they're really handy in like dark situations or if I need a really small light. I also have the Yongnuo light wands. I have 2 of these. One of them is being used to light me right now. These are great because they give me all sorts of color temperature control as well as the entire RGB spectrum. These are the version 1s. There is a second version out. I think even the second version goes for like $120, so they're pretty cheap. They're really similar to the Ice Light, except they're like a quarter the price and do a lot more. And of course I have a whole bunch of like, you know, memory cards and extra batteries and like spider holster, lens cleaning cloth, all sorts of little accessories like that. I think that about covers it for what's in my bag. In the next video I'm going to do a little more comprehensive as far as light modifiers and just kind of go over hopefully a little more of what they do and how I use them. And then after that it's just going to be live shoots, I think.